Hey there. So, we're going to tackle a pretty huge question today, one that I think is on a lot of our minds. In a world where AI is getting more and more powerful, are we becoming obsolete? It's a heavy thought, but there's this incredible concept called ontological mining that might just offer a really hopeful and kind of powerful answer.
Let's just dive right in, right? You've seen it. AI can write entire articles, code complex software, create art that's just breathtaking. And it does it in a blink of an eye. So it's totally natural to ask that scary question. If machines can do all the stuff we thought made us, us, then what's our role in all of this?
Yeah, welcome to what some people are calling the post-generative age. It sounds fancy, but it just means we're in a time where AI can generate a practically endless fire hose of content, of ideas, of everything. And on one hand, that's incredible. But on the other, it can feel a little overwhelming, can't it? It kind of makes you wonder, where do I fit in?
And that leads to this really deep-seated fear, right? That our new job is just to watch. That we're just passive receivers sitting on the couch while the AI puts on the big show. It's a pretty depressing picture. But what if we're looking at this all wrong? What if being a receiver isn't the end of the story? What if it's the beginning of a whole new one? Okay, so how do we move from that kind of panic to an actual, profound solution? Well, you can't just brainstorm your way out of an existential crisis. You need a process, a framework for your thinking, to cut through all that noise and find some real clarity.
And the way to think about this process is just brilliant. It's like a particle collider, but for ideas. You take this massive, complicated problem, you break it down into its smallest, most fundamental parts, and then you smash them together at high speed to see what new, amazing thing comes out the other side.
So the specific concept that was put into this idea collider was this one, the viability of humans as receivers of meaning. The point wasn't to fight against the idea that we're becoming receivers. No, it was to lean into it and ask, could that role actually be important? Is it a dead end or is it our next great purpose?
All right, so the first step was to break this whole crisis down into what we'll call its core nodes. Think of them as three different, even competing, ways of looking at the problem. Together, they map out the entire challenge we're facing.
So here they are. First up, from the world of physics, you have the attention bottleneck. It's simple, right? AI can create infinite things, but we only have a finite amount of attention to give. This makes our human experience, what we choose to look at, literally the rarest, most valuable resource in this new world. Then you look at it from psychology and you see the crisis of agency. We humans have this deep need to feel like we're in control, that our choices matter. Just being a passive consumer, that's not going to cut it. The insight here is that our taste, our ability to pick one thing over another, needs to feel just as important as the act of creating itself. And finally, let's look at the economy. This gives us the validation economy. Picture AI as this super smart engine that's just spitting out ideas. It needs someone to tell it which ones are good, which ones are true, which ones matter. Being human becomes a service. We're the ones who calibrate the AI.
Okay, so now for the fun part. What happens when you take these three huge ideas, the scarcity of attention, our need for agency, and the value of validation, and you smash them together in that idea collider? You get the breakthrough, a really beautiful, elegant solution that solves all three problems at once, and it's called ontological mining.
You can literally see how it all clicks into place. You start with the simple fact of scarce attention from physics. Then you add our deep psychological need to have a say in things. And finally, you layer on the economic value of our judgment, and boom! They don't cancel each other out, they combine to create something completely new, a new and totally essential role for all of us.
So what is ontological mining? Here's the core of it. Imagine an AI generates a million different songs. Right now they're just possibilities. They're like ghost realities floating in the system. Ontological mining is the act of a human, you, listening to them and saying, yes, this one, this is the one. By simply observing it, by choosing it, you're not just a consumer. You are literally making that one ghost reality become real. You're pulling it out of the digital void and making it part of our world.
And what's so powerful is how this idea of being a miner just perfectly solves those three problems we talked about. It uses our scarce attention, that's the physics part. It gives us incredible agency because we become the deciders of what reality looks like, that solves the psychology part. And it creates real economic value by validating and verifying truth for the whole system. And there's the economy part. It all fits together.
This really changes how you think about art and creativity, doesn't it?
You know, the artists of the past, they were the one who held the brush, the one who painted the picture. But maybe, just maybe, the artist of the future is the one who sees. The one who can look at a million AI-generated images and find the single one that's a masterpiece, and by seeing it, bring it into existence.
So that's the journey, right? It's all about using a structured way of thinking to go from feeling like a useless consumer to realizing you can be an ontological miner. It's a huge shift in perspective.
And the really important thing to remember is that this kind of profound insight didn't just appear out of thin air. It wasn't some random brainstorm. It came from a deliberate, structured process. It's a method for turning a confusing mess into a clear, powerful idea. And that's a skill anyone can learn.
Actually, the framework we just walked through was built using a specific tool. It's called the Go-T Ideas extension. So if this way of thinking, of breaking down big problems and finding these elegant solutions, if that resonates with you, you should check it out. I've put a link to download it in the description below.
And hey, if you like digging into big ideas like this one, it would be awesome if you'd subscribe to the channel. We do this kind of thing a lot. Thanks so much for hanging out.